gave you $1 million. Where would you buy? Oakland, Berkeley, or Alameda? We're going to talk about what the median home price looks like in these areas, what it gets you, and how far your $1 million goes. Now, I will say it's a caveat, right? There are certain criteria that fits. Can you buy $1 million home in Berkeley right now that's 5 bedrooms? Absolutely. But what's the condition of it? What part of Berkeley is it in? Right? So there's little things here you must consider. Are you going to get in Elmwood for $1 million? Absolutely not. The Berkeley Hills, forget about it. If you're looking in the more desirable parts of Berkeley or Oakland, Alameda, you're probably looking at a 2 bedroom closet. But again, that's the caveat, right? So there are things you need to realize about the Bay Area and Bay Area living that fit into certain criteria. So you're not going to get into the best neighborhoods of Oakland, Berkeley, and you're probably not even getting into Alameda with anything less than $1 million, unless you want to like I said, a two-bedroom condo, right? So again, there are rules that must be followed. There are exceptions to certain rules, but that is my disclaimer for this video. So let's talk about in generalities what $1 million gets you in these certain areas. So automatically, let's just go right ahead and jump into Berkeley. So the median home price in Berkeley at the recording of this video is $1.15 million. You go to Elmwood, you're talking about almost $3 million. But you see the difference here in median home price and locations in Berkeley. Poets Corner, South Berkeley, that's kind of where your $1 million is going to go over the farthest in Berkeley. The thing about Berkeley, California is it's a very competitive market. On average, Berkeley homes get 6 offers minimum. Okay. They also sell pretty well over list price. On the low end, you're talking about 25% over list price. On the high end, you're talking about over 40% over list price. So if you're looking at Berkeley, you have to keep these things in mind. Okay. So if your budget is capped out at $1 million, you have to look substantially below that as far as list price goes, so you don't go over budget. There's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home listed in North Berkeley for just under $1 million right now, about 2,400 square foot. Now, Oakland has a much different median home price, okay, because Oakland is so big and the neighborhoods are so drastically different. So Oakland's median home price is about $875,000 at the recording of this video. If you had $1 million, you'd probably look at places like Maxwell Park, Laurel Heights, Glenview, Diamond District. Those are areas where your $1 million is probably going to go the furthest. In Glenview, you're probably looking at about a 3-bedroom for about $950,000. In Maxwell Park, you'll probably get a little bit more garage land, 3 to 4 bedrooms around the same price. Lower Rockridge or Temescal. Temescal is where I used to live. Temescal is one of the best growing neighborhoods of Oakland. When I lived there, there's a lot of great artisan things to do, a lot of culture, coffee shops, new restaurants popping up all over the place. You're a stone's throw away from downtown Oakland, almost right across the street from Piedmont, and a stone's throw away from Berkeley as well. So Temescal and Lower Rockridge is really, really hot neighborhood. There you're going to find a lot of Craftsman, and you're probably looking at 2 or 3 bedrooms there for $1 million. In Upper Rockridge, those are higher place areas. You're looking at a median home price easily over 1.5. But sometimes there are deals. Sometimes you could get something that's like 800,000. So again, don't just rule out a neighborhood because the median home price is very high. You still might be able to get deals. Now, Oakland is still a very competitive market, just like Berkeley. But as far as over list price, you're probably looking at anywhere between 13% over list to about 25 or 26% over list price on average again, depending on what neighborhood you're in. Now, Oakland is notorious for pricing their homes significantly under value to, I don't want to say necessarily inflate those numbers, but that's kind of what it does. So if you significantly underprice your home by 50, $100,000, you're obviously more likely going to sell way over list price. So that contributes to the Oakland market and the competitiveness. Now, Alameda is very much similar to Berkeley. Okay. So, if you are relocating to the Bay Area and you're looking for these neighborhoods that are in proximity to each other, Alameda is about 3 to 5 minutes from Oakland. You're also very close to the Oakland airport. If you are in like the Bay Farm area of Alameda, there's also a ferry that connects Alameda to San Francisco. So if you need to commute for work, that is a plus. Oakland is obviously very centrally located. Depending on where you're at in Berkeley, you can get to Berkeley inside a couple of minutes. Okay. So all these three cities are very much connected. Same thing with Piedmont um, and Montclair. Okay. Montclair is Oakland. Piedmont is Oakland. But if you're out of state, these are names that you'll see that you'll wonder about. Okay. So with Alameda, it's very similar to Berkeley in terms of median home price, $1.15 million. It's also very competitive. Um, but the caveat is $1 million is not going to get you very far in Alameda, uh, because most of Alameda, or I should say a lot of Alameda, unless you're on Bay Farms, a lot of Alameda is Victorian style, Craftsman style homes, highly desirable neighborhood, city, tree lined streets. Uh, the Gold Coast neighborhood of Alameda is like prime location. That's the mama we made it side of Alameda. You're talking about median home price at $3 million plus. Okay. Also very great schools in like the east end part of Alameda. So Alameda is highly desirable for a lot of things, and it's not as big as Oakland. Okay, Berkeley. We're talking about 7 miles long, uh, but it makes for a very competitive market. So at like $900,000, you can get into Alameda, but you're talking about probably a two-bedroom condo. Okay. For over $1 million, you can start to look at single family homes, probably 3 bedroom. Uh, but also you want to keep in mind the architecture and the period, right? So if you're looking at a home that's listed at 1 million, you can easily pay 1.3, because that's kind of what the Alameda market dictates. But then because of the age of the home, you're going to be probably budgeting for repairs as well. Okay. Probably 1 to 2% of the home price. So depending on the listing of the Alameda, if it's 1.4, you need to budget about 14,000, 28,000 for repairs if it's an old style Victorian or Craftsman. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're looking at Alameda homes. If you are looking to buy or sell in the Bay Area, or you're relocating from out of state, my contact information is always down below in the description and the comments. I'll also put it here on screen. If you want somebody to kind of navigate the craziest market of the Bay Area, and give you honest, transparent feedback. All my clients will say that I always tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear. Go ahead and reach out to me. Comment your city down below, which city you would rather live in if you had $1 million right now. If you're looking for the best Bay Area cities to move to and you are out of state or out of area buyer, go ahead and type in guide into the comments. I'll go ahead and give that to you. I also have other videos on Bay Area living that you want to check out. Like and subscribe helps the channel. Until then, we'll see you on the next one.